Once upon a time, in a meadow filled with wildflowers, lived a speedy rabbit named Riley. Riley was not just any rabbit, he was known far and wide for his incredible speed. Every morning, as the sun rose over the horizon, Riley would be seen darting through the meadow, his white fur gleaming in the sunlight. Riley loved to hop and skip, his movements so swift and graceful that it seemed like he was dancing on air. He would often challenge other animals to races, always confident that he would win. Showing off how fast he could go, Riley would zoom past everyone, leaving a trail of dust behind him. He took great pride in his speed and never missed an opportunity to boast about it. One day, Riley met a turtle named Shelley. Shelley was the complete opposite of Riley. She moved slowly and steadily, taking her time to enjoy the beauty of the meadow. Shelley was slowly making her way across the meadow, her eyes taking in every detail of the flowers and the grass. She believed that life was not a race, but a journey to be savored. "Hey, Shelley!" called Riley, zooming past her. "What's your hurry?" Shelley chuckled softly, her eyes twinkling with amusement. "I'm not in a hurry at all, Riley," she replied. "I just enjoy the journey. Every step I take, I see something new and wonderful." Riley paused for a moment, watching Shelley as she moved slowly but surely through the meadow. He had never thought about life that way. To him it was all about speed and getting to the finish line first. But Shelley's words made him think. "Why don't we have a race?" Riley suggested, a mischievous glint in his eye. "Let's see who can reach the other side of the meadow first." Shelley smiled gently. "All right, Riley," she said. "But remember, it's not always about who gets there first." They lined up at the starting line, and with a burst of energy, Riley took off like a rocket. Shelley, on the other hand, started her journey with slow, deliberate steps. Riley was soon far ahead, his speed carrying him swiftly across the meadow. He looked back and saw Shelley moving at her usual pace far behind him. Confident of his victory, Riley decided to take a nap under a shady tree. As Riley slept, Shelley continued her steady pace, never stopping, never rushing. She enjoyed the sights and sounds of the meadow, appreciating every moment of her journey. Slowly but surely, Shelley passed the sleeping Riley. She didn't look back, she just kept moving forward, one step at a time. When Riley finally woke up, he was shocked to see that Shelley was almost at the finish line. He jumped up and dashed towards the end, but it was too late. Shelley crossed the finish line just as Riley reached it. She had won the race, not because she was the fastest, but because she was steady and persistent. Riley congratulated Shelley, realizing that there was more to life than just speed. He learned that day that sometimes slow and steady truly does win the race. From that day on, Riley and Shelley became good friends. Riley still loved to run fast, but he also learned to appreciate the beauty of the journey, just like Shelley. And so in the meadow filled with wildflowers, the boastful bunny and the steady turtle taught everyone that life is not just about racing to the end, but about enjoying every step along the way. Gee. Riley, always up for a challenge, declared, "Let's have a race." Riley was a spirited rabbit, always looking for the next adventure. His eyes sparkled with excitement as he looked around the meadow, searching for a worthy opponent. The meadow was a vast expanse of vibrant green, dotted with colourful wildflowers swaying gently in the breeze. It was the perfect setting for a race, and Riley's heart raced with anticipation. "We'll see who can reach the big oak tree at the edge of the meadow first." The oak tree stood tall and majestic, its branches stretching out like welcoming arms. It was a landmark in the meadow, a symbol of strength and endurance. Riley pointed towards the tree, his voice filled with determination. The challenge was set and there was no turning back now. Shelley, though surprised, agreed. "All right, Riley, let's race." Shelley was a calm and thoughtful turtle, known for her wisdom and patience. She had never been one to rush, preferring to take her time and enjoy the journey. But Riley's enthusiasm was infectious, and she found herself agreeing to the race, a small smile playing on her lips. She knew this would be an interesting challenge. And so, with the sun shining brightly and a gentle breeze rustling the leaves, the race began. The meadow was alive with the sounds of nature, birds singing and insects buzzing. Riley took off like a shot, his powerful legs propelling him forward with incredible speed. Shelley, on the other hand, started at her own steady pace, her eyes focused on the distant oak tree. The race was not just about speed, but also about strategy and perseverance. As they moved through the meadow, each step brought new challenges and discoveries. Riley's heart pounded with the thrill of the race, while Shelley's calm determination kept her moving steadily forward. The sun continued to shine, casting a warm glow over the meadow, and the gentle breeze carried the scent of wildflowers through the air. It was a perfect day for a race, and both Riley and Shelley were determined to give it their all. Riley zipped off like a shot, leaving Shelley far behind. He hopped over rocks, weaved through flowers, and sped across the meadow. "See you at the finish line, Shelley," he called back, his voice filled with amusement. Shelley, meanwhile, kept her own pace. She steadily plodded along, her shell gleaming in the sunlight. Though much slower than Riley, Shelley didn't lose heart. She enjoyed the warmth of the sun on her shell and the feel of the soft grass beneath her feet. Riley, confident in his lead, decided to take a little break. He found a shady spot under a willow tree and lay down for a nap. "I've got plenty of time," he thought, yawning. Shelley's nowhere in sight. The sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. Riley, startled awake by a passing butterfly, realized he had overslept. He jumped to his feet and looked around frantically. "Oh no, I've wasted so much time!" With a burst of energy, Riley raced towards the finish line. The wind whistled past his ears as his paws pounded the forest floor. Every muscle in his body was working in perfect harmony, propelling him forward with incredible speed. He felt invincible, like nothing could stop him now. The finish line was within sight, and he was determined to reach it first. He could see the big oak tree in the distance. It stood tall and majestic, marking the end of the race. The tree had always been a symbol of strength and endurance for Riley. As he got closer, he could see the sunlight filtering through its leaves, casting a beautiful pattern on the ground. The sight of the tree gave him an extra burst of energy, and he pushed himself even harder. But as he got closer, he saw something that made him stop in his tracks. His heart skipped a beat, and his eyes widened in surprise. There, just a few steps away from the finish line, was Shelley the turtle. She was moving slowly but steadily, her eyes focused on the goal ahead. Riley couldn't believe it. How had she managed to get so far ahead? Shelley, slow and steady, was just a few steps away from the finish line. Riley watched in awe as she inched closer and closer. He had always underestimated her, thinking that her slow pace would never allow her to win. But now he realized that her determination and perseverance had paid off. She had kept going, never giving up, and now she was about to cross the finish line. Riley felt a mix of emotions: admiration for Shelley's tenacity and a newfound respect for the power of persistence. With one last determined step, Shelley crossed the finish line. She had won the race. Riley, out of breath and humbled, approached Shelley. "Congratulations, Shelley," he said, his ears drooping. "I never thought you'd actually win." Shelley smiled wisely. "Slow and steady wins the race, Riley. It's not always about being the fastest, but about being patient and never giving up." Riley realized the truth in Shelley's words. From that day on, he learned to appreciate the journey, not just the destination.